Which spells should we use for different needs, and where can we find them? How can we learn to do everything correctly so that the ritual works? Thank you. Well, that is quite a vast question. And I hope you understand that there simply cannot be one clear, definite answer to it. First of all, this is because any ritual, spell, or rite, and anything of that sort, comes from a particular tradition. A ritual, spell, or rite is just a tool, while the tradition is the meaning and the foundation on which everything is built. Accordingly, it is only the tradition that determines the correctness of a rite, ritual, or spell. In Christianity, this is called prayer, in Islam, salah, and in paganism, a spell or incantation. In other words, each system, each tradition, has its own form. For things to work, you must understand that tradition. And for things to work, you must not mix different traditions, unless you have been granted such a right. And this right is given by the tradition itself, granted by the gods and by the patrons of witchcraft. They also grant you the learning. If you are approaching ritual and rite for the first time, if you want to study what spells are, then you must first ask yourself, who am I, and which tradition do I belong to? In other words, to put it simply, which system supports me, which God supports me. If you are supported by one God, for example Christian, and you decide to turn to the Slavic gods for spells, then try to guess, will Christianity support you? Will it give you strength, informational support, or a dedicated channel so that your words can take effect? No. Will the Slavic gods support you, seeing that you are a stranger? No. Moreover, most likely they will try to block your channels from every possible side. Because what is a spell? You must understand the mechanics of this process. There is a great program that shapes this reality. You want to make small, targeted changes in this program, for yourself, for a relative, or for a friend, it makes no difference. Why are these targeted changes needed? Because the great program does not consider the personal needs of your relative or friend. Therefore, you must add an additional program, a kind of patch. And this patch you create yourself. In the spellcasting tradition, this involves reciting a spell. In the prayer tradition, it involves reciting a prayer. This is how the tradition explains it, because in Christianity, we do nothing ourselves, we ask God to do it for us. He is the main developer of this program. He says, if you behave well, offer the sacrifice, pay what I require, then maybe I'll make some targeted changes to the program and consider your needs. Or maybe I won't. That's how it is. Everything depends on the algorithm. In paganism it is different, because the sorcerer does everything himself. For this, he must have a connection, a link between God and man, because man is the mediator between God and the earth. Thus he builds his consciousness as a mediator, that is, he programs this very connection, and, through words, embeds the change that must occur in the larger program, so that it is reflected in the smaller program of reality. Here the sorcerer is the programmer. He himself writes the smaller program in order to integrate it into the system. And he needs the connection with the God in order to embed it. He knows where it goes. He only writes the program, gives it to his God, and says, here. Implement it, integrate it into reality. It is a different approach, a different attitude towards the act. And depending on the tradition you belong to, that is how you will act. For if within Christianity, Islam, or other Abrahamic religions, you decide to write your own program and give it to your God to integrate, you must realize that in this case you may receive quite a serious backlash, up to the complete end of your physical existence. Because this is a violation of established tradition, it is a profound insult to the master of that tradition, who does not tolerate such unauthorized co-creation between man and God. In Christianity and the Abrahamic religions in general, man is a servant, a worm, a lowly creature, with no rights whatsoever, unless God chooses to raise him above all others. You must understand that with such an attitude, with such a position in this system, no one will allow you to act as a co-creator. The same is true in paganism, but in a different way. There, man is never a worm, a servant, or a lowly creature. And if he tries to act as a supplicant, at best, he will simply get no response, and at worst, he will be cast aside. So first of all, answer this question for yourself. Everything depends on tradition. Tradition defines man's place and his rights. Accordingly, it grants certain possibilities and knowledge. I sincerely hope, colleague, that I have explained this as clearly as possible.